Am I the asshole for calling my parents thieves for taking the money I saved for my 16th birthday and spending it on new sneakers for my autistic sister? I, soon 16F, don't get to celebrate my birthday every year because my parents can't afford it. I got myself a summer job months ago and saved money for my sweet 16th birthday since my parents won't be doing anything for me this year either. My birthday is next week. Yesterday I discovered that mom searched my room and took the $120 I saved and hid under my bed like she always does. I called her and she said she was keeping it safe and will talk after she get home since she and dad and my autistic 14-year-old sister were out. I waited till they got back and my sister started yelling cheerfully telling me to look at the new sneakers my parents got her. I asked mom for my money but she said she spent it on new sneakers for my sister. I was like, what? My dad said my sister saw, liked, and wanted the sneakers but they didn't have money to buy it and stop her from having a meltdown in the middle of the store and refusing to leave the store without them. I angrily told them that money was saved for my upcoming birthday party. He promised he'll pay me back next month, then I can have my birthday party and invite friends over. I told him my birthday isn't next month, my friends will laugh if I tell them I postponed it. He replied that I should reconsider who I'm friends with then. He has a short temper and I obviously pushed him to his limit when I said no and kept asking them to return the sneakers. He loudly said no. And I lost it and said that they are both thieves and I hate them both for stealing my money and ruining yet another birthday for me. He yelled at me and said, no, you are getting on my last nerve and I ain't going to take your shit no more. No birthday party for you, pointing at me with his finger. Not next week, not next month, cause of what you just said and you're goddamn grounded. Now get TF out my face and stay gone till I tell you otherwise. Mom just looked at me sternly approving of his message. I ran upstairs and dad shouted after me that I was way out of line and need to be taught some manners for calling them thieves to their face. I'm grounded now for calling them that. I didn't get my money back but did get called an overprivileged spoiled brat for having little to no consideration for my sister's struggle and acting so selfishly and throwing a 3-year-old tantrum over a party that they are no longer allowing me to have because I called them thieves. Am I the asshole for this? I do not care if you have cancer, my child deserves your seat. This encounter happened about some time ago. So a little backstory, about a year ago, I was diagnosed with a cancer of the nasal cavity, stage 2. The tumor was quite large, but thankfully benign. By benign, I wanted to shorten the fact it still did not spread into other tissue, thus it was still contained. To get it removed, I first had to undergo aggressive chemotherapy to make it smaller. Thanks to the chemo, I had severe alopecia, hair loss, which made most of my hair and even eyebrows and eyelashes fall out. At some point I had to go bald, but I wore a wig, because I didn't want to look like a skinhead/neo-Nazi. I'm 6 feet 4 inches and pretty muscular, so I thought people would assume. So once, after a long chemo session in the hospital, I took the bus home. There's only one bus that goes from the hospital to where I live, so I took that one only to see it was absolutely packed. I felt like shit, thanks to the chemo, so I asked a middle-aged dude to let me sit. He was very understanding and gave me a spot without complaining. If you're reading this, thanks bro. 2 stops later, enter entitled mother, a lovely whale with an I demand a parley with the CEO haircut and a 12-some-year-old kid. It took her roughly 5 seconds to see the bus was packed, start looking for a free seat, spot me and start marching, or, in her case, trying to fit in the aisle between the seats while shoving others aside, to me. When I saw her, I knew I was screwed. She then stood next to me and decided to talk to me. This is the conversation that followed. Entitled mother, hey, could you let my kid sit down? Me, you mean me? Entitled mother, who else? Me, oh, I'm sorry, but I'm on my way from the hospital. And entitled mother, cutting me off, so are we? Nonsense. The stop was a few kilometers away from the hospital. My boy just broke his leg and we're coming straight from the ER. Her kid was standing next to her, without any support, clearly embarrassed. Me, he's standing next to you completely fine. Entitled mother, look here, boy, I am 21 yo, my kid deserves to sit down. Me, look madam, I'm sorry, but I just got back from a chemo session in the hospital and I need to sit down and rest. I then moved my wig a bit to let her see my bald head. Entitled mother then straight up started yelling in my face. Entitled mother, stop making excuses and get off the fucking seat, you fucking skinhead piece of shit. At this point, I was baffled. I didn't know what to say. The kid was trying to make his mother stop and we had the attention of the whole bus. She then grabbed me and tried to yank me from my seat. I held on tight and thankfully didn't fall off. Now, enter OG, my savior, an old gentleman about 60. OG, will you shut the fuck up you dumb cow? EM, who do you think you're talking to? OG, with ice cold voice, stop assaulting other passengers or I will be forced to step in. Also, every dumb moron could see that the dude is cancer. Entitled mother, no, he's just a fucking skinhead. OG, he's got no eyebrows you twat. Seems like that really offended EM. because she spun around on the spot and threw a falcon punch in OG's face. I was shocked and in disbelief. The whole bus was flabbergasted and the kid probably wished he'd never been born. OG then said something unbelievable and a golden, sweet karma moment followed. OG, okay, that does it. Harassing passengers on the bus, physical assault against a passenger and now assaulting an officer. You're in deep trouble, lady. OG then pulled out a badge and told her to stay where she was. Then he pulled out his phone, called someone and told her she was being arrested. I couldn't believe it. OG was a bloody cop. At this point, entitled mother was as white as a wall. The bus had just come to a stop, so she decided she'd make a run for it, but other passengers blocked her way. She then also got charged with resisting arrest, thanks to this. 3 stops later, a police car was waiting for the entitled mother and embarrassed kid. Embarrassed kid told me he was sorry for his mother's behavior and I felt really sorry for the kid. He wasn't a bad child, but his mother was a hellspawn. OG then talked to me and asked me if I wanted to press charges, to which I gladly said yes, took a statement, and thankfully was kind enough to let me solve everything on the phone, so I didn't have to come to the police station for questioning. In the end, she got some jail time, I think it was a few months, and some community service. I, in return, got a good story to tell and the sweet taste of instant karma. Am I the asshole for kicking my mom and my stepdad out of my house? I 28F recently gave birth to my son. My son has blonde hair, so did I up until I was like 4, and my hair has only gotten darker over time. My husband has black hair, I have very dark brown hair now and our whole families have either one of these colors or similar. Our son having blonde hair is not something anyone else has reacted negatively towards. My mom and my stepdad came over as they usually does once a week. Me and my stepdad don't have a good relationship, neither is it bad, but every time they have visited he has made comments about my son's hair. He jokes about getting one of those DNA kits for my husband and son, jokes about how my husband maybe should check my phone, asks if I have any hot blonde coworkers I have spent a lot of time with and more stuff in that kind of way. My husband and I always tells him to stop, has explained that it is basic genetics since I had blonde hair. We have always been very polite in trying to get him to stop, but neither of us even finds it remotely funny. My mom doesn't say anything. I have talked with her and asked her to make him stop but she says that she rather not interfere with our relationship with him and that me and my husband should talk more with him. Now the last time they were over my husband went to the kitchen to grab some snacks, and my stepdad followed. After a minute I just heard my husband slam a cabinet and very loudly tell my stepdad to shut the fuck up or else he could get out immediately. Both me and my mom went to see what happened. My husband explained that my stepdad was going on again about me cheating on my husband. My husband lost it this time. I don't know but I also did just that. I told them to leave and to don't come back until he apologizes. They tried to talk and explain how my stepdad was just joking, but I was stern and wanted them to leave. They eventually did. I texted my mom later that night trying to explain myself, as I felt bad for kicking her out too. She answered back with how my stepdad has been feeling really down, that he was disappointed in how I let my husband treat him and that they both expected some apologies and a lot off work to make up for this. I feel really bad and feel like an asshole. I know I hurt my mom and my stepdad and that I may have taken a harsh decision in this. My sister told me that she understands my frustration, but it was an unnecessary thing for me to react like that. My husband is on my side and has told me that he is glad they won't come over. If I was an asshole for reacting like this I will apologize.